Wait for it. Wait for it. And we're live. Hey, all you crazy sci fi and fantasy fans. It's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just a couple of nerdy veterans, one stabby chaos coordinator, and a chief shenanigator geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, we're going to let our guest, Mr. Jarret Keene, introduce himself to our listeners and viewers at home.
Hello, my name is Jarret. I'm an assistant professor here at the Department of English, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I teach fiction writing and also the graphic novel. I'm the series editor for Las Vegas Writes, which is sponsored by Nevada Humanities, showcasing Las Vegas authors. And I'm the author of the dystopian adventure novel Hammer of the Dogs, which is about teenage drone assassins killing each other in ruined Las Vegas. And I'm here mainly to talk about my latest book, the story collection of horror tales, Gateways to Annihilation, which is published by Dark Wolf Books. And yeah, I also have a Western series, the Kid Crimson trilogy. And I just love writing fantasy, sci-fi, westerns, crime, and I love better than writing. I love reading, watching, and enjoying pop culture from the '80s, especially.
Okay. So what got you interested before we dive in? What got you interested in drones for that to be a topic? And I'm going to throw that cover up real quick just because it is amazing, and I want everyone to get a chance to see it.
Yeah, well, before I became a professor, I was making a living as a casino propagandist. I was writing employee newsletters for MGM Resorts here on the Las Vegas Strip. And because I was bored, I started crashing some of these conventions that would take place, properties like Mandalay Bay. And I noticed this drone convention, it seemed massive. We're talking a million square foot plus of drone tech being hawked on the in that space. So I used my employee badge to sneak in, and let me tell you, I was amazed and horrified by what I saw. It was this just intersection of higher education, tech companies, foreign governments, military tech people, and they were all gathered there, and just showcasing their these different ways to kill one another remotely. And I grabbed all the tech manuals I could. I talked to as many people who knew about drones, not just the salespeople, but the people who the scientists, the engineers, and I learned a lot. And maybe too much, and it scarred me to a degree. And whenever I'm marked like that, I kind of have to process it. So I wrote this adventure novel that I think does a pretty good job of like capturing that '80s vibe without being too pessimistic or nihilistic. I wanted to write a fun story about a dark topic. So that was what I was after with Hammer of the Dogs, and it's been getting great reviews. I think people will enjoy it. It's my attempt at military sci-fi. Having grown up reading those books by David Drake in the library in the '90s, and I really love those Bane books. Those are fun.
Me too. So we're going to have you back to talk about Hammer of the Dogs more exclusively. But as we wrap it up and start moving into the conversation forward, for people that are listening who say that sounds interesting, what would you rate it? Like if you're going to talk to parents who kid might like this book, PG-13, or like how would you rate this book?
It's a hard PG-13, like Red Dawn. Do you remember the movie Red Dawn?
I do. Wolverines.
I mean, I don't know. I was very young when Red Dawn came out. I was 11, and I watched it, and it was perfect for me at that age. It's not for everyone at that age, but that's the kind of hard '80s pop culture that I enjoyed. Stephen King's The Bachman books. I read that when I was 12. Maybe some people wouldn't do that, but parents today are a little more protective. But that's I played Dungeons and Dragons as a 9-year-old. That's pretty aggressive, especially if we're talking about 1980, 1981. So Yeah, Red Dawn. It gets the Red Dawn rating, whatever that means to people.
The funny thing about Red Dawn was I remember when the original one, because I know they redid it, when they were explaining the Boy Scouts, and he goes, "It's a paramilitary organization," and having been in the Boy Scouts, that always cracked me up. So it just, I don't know, it always amused me.
It's my favorite Patrick Swayze movie. So.
Yes, and it definitely taught kids there are consequences for actions, because that one kid that sold out because it was easier paid for it, and it's like that's a defining lesson for kids when you realize that sometimes, you know, the decisions you make have real world consequences.
That's right.
Like realizing that it is kind of part of growing up, and that movie kind of encapsulated that for a lot of people in our generation.
Yeah, so I made sure my sons watched it when they were 12 years old. So,
as one does, like, you know, you'd be failing as a parent if you didn't expose them to it.
That's right. That's how I feel. So, if you're into that kind of 80s bright darkness, is what I call it, I think Hammer of the Dogs will work. I've carried over that aesthetic with the horror collection, Gateways to Annihilation. That's where I kind of get my early Stephen King vibe on.
Okay. Hopefully you finish the ending better than he does.
Absolutely. That guy can write an ending. Sorry.
All right. So before we get too deep in that, we do got to ask the religion question. Are you ready for this?
I am so ready.
All right. Star Wars, Star Trek, or Firefly?
All right. Man, Battlestar Galactica. No, I tell you what, the Star Wars is the first movie I saw in the theater. I saw it ever as a 5-year-old, so I should say that. But over time now, the original motion picture of Star Trek that's an eerie film. It impresses me more and more the longer I view it. So at the moment, I'm going to say Star Trek, the original motion picture, and of course Shatner. What a dude! I love that guy. I
loved Shatner in Boston Legal.
Yeah,
he was like, that was the funniest representation of law. I don't care how accurate it was. That's how I want it to be.
Well, T.J. Hooker is what really cemented my appreciation for Shatner. That was a sort of like a sillier version of Miami Vice, but I loved every episode.
Yeah. They don't make campy like they used to, though.
No.
We take ourselves too seriously, I think.
Yes, and that's what I'm out to change. I have my tongue a little bit in my cheek with these stories and Gateways to Annihilation. They're very imaginative and very epic, but I want people to have fun. I don't want to dwell on misery and pain. I like other palettes, other colors in the palette.
Yeah, I realized I was warped and twisted by my dad's military humor when I was younger. We went on a Boy Scout camping trip, and they're telling ghost stories, and the point of it is, you know, he's going to die and you could be next, right? Because they're trying to scare the bejesus out of us before we go on our s'mores coma-induced, sugar-induced, whatever. And everyone's like, oh, I called dibs on his truck, because everyone loved his truck back then. He was like the cool dad because he had the truck we threw our stuff in. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I'm his kid. I get it. Of course I get it. And he's just looking at all of us like we've just lost our ever-loving minds because we're not scared. We're debating who gets his stuff.
Good kids.
I'm sure we all grew up fine. I turned out fine-ish. And Ish does a lot of heavy lifting. All right. Because we're polytheistic here at the Blasters and Blades podcast, Game of Thrones, The Wheel of Time, Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, well, Narnia. I mean, you know, that's the bright darkness I'm talking about. I recently reread those books. Well, not a few years ago, and they're fantastic. And of course, I made my sons read them. And I would never have them read Game of Thrones. That's too a lot of torture in there. I'm not into that so much.
Yeah, I wanted to pass on, like, my mom gave me Outlander, the first book of the series by Diana Gabaldon, because I loved history. I love Scottish history. And then I read it, and first off, when I caught up to the book she already had, and I had to go to the bookstore, I biked the 2 miles to the Barnes & Noble to get a new one. And I was disappointed, and I felt cheated when I found out it was a romance novel, because it was in the romance section, not in the books for boys. Because, yeah, there was romance in it, but it never felt like that was the central plot, you know?
Well, I love Outlander for many reasons, but, you know, the film that really kind of stoked my interest in Outlander was Highlander.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There can be only one. Just don't, get bent out of shape the fact that none of the lore matches movie to movie or series to series.
Well, the first one is a classic, and
oh, absolutely.
I made my kids watch it when they were 10. Yes, but
as one does. And if you have more than one kid, you throw them in a ring, give them a sword, and tell them there could be only one. There will only be one college paid for. But yeah, that was a good one though. I really enjoyed that. And now you got me thinking about Highlander. Oh, but yeah, so in that one though, there is that scene in there where it's like almost like the torture porn when he's in the prison with the British guy. I'm like, you could have not been as graphic on that scene and gotten your point across. Like,
true.
I don't have a weak stomach. I've seen things that would make most people's, hair turn gray, and that was a little much for me. I'm like, I skimmed those pages.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, it's interesting out there. Okay. Did you read any of the Choose Your Own Adventure books back in the day?
I'm writing those books. I mean, not the Choose Your. I'm writing an interactive game book series for kids.
Yeah, you can't call them Choose Your Own Adventure because that's copyrighted.
Right? Copyright. But no, I loved those books as a child, and reading them was just one of the great experiences of my life. But I also enjoyed the TSR game books, like Conan the Barbarian, which were meant for 12-year-olds. But when you read them now, you're like, how did this happen?
So they call them, was it Pick a Path is one of the names they use now. Adventure books, like you said, Game Path books is another one I've seen. But did you read any of the Lone Wolf ones?
Yes.
I absolutely loved. I mean, I cheated when I read it because I was young. I had the whole collection and I passed it on to my kids because it was such a cool experience, and just figuring out what the best answer is. And I missed those. I'd write them myself because I had so much fun reading them. But I feel like I'd look like a serial killer trying to plot those out and make sure everything links up and flows. And someone could write a formula where I just follow this path. Okay, now back up, follow this path. I think I could do it, but right now you'd have to.
Yeah,
I don't know how you'd manage it in your head to get it right.
I have a formula. I mapped it all out. Yes, it looks like a serial killer notation, but I'll send it to you. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, I'm picturing like that meme where the guy's at the wall with the red string going everywhere.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And I pity the person that has to edit those because you got to go through each path to make sure it all works.
Yeah, and drives my editor crazy, but it's got to be done. It
absolutely
makes it fun.
I actually saw them come back when I saw it in a romance novel as a one of the not harem, what do they call it? Love triangles, and the pick a path let you decide who they got with in the end.
You're gonna cause me to go jump on eBay after this and start buying those up.
Yeah, I had so much fun with those. And I actually started thinking like you have to think outside the box. There was one that I read as a kid where the guy got to pick whether he could slow time down or speed time up. And the consequences, if you sped time up, you actually aged quicker too, because you're speeding time up, and so you're going through life faster, but everyone else is, so you're going to age quicker than everyone else. Presumably, if you slow time down for periods, you can like de-age, I guess.
Yeah.
Or at least slow your aging. But it got me thinking of like all the weird consequences, because everyone's like, and you apply this to like fantasy and you got elemental magic and everyone's like, oh, okay, I move the rock, I move the water, whatever. And no one thinks, well, if I've got metal magic, there's metal in blood, I could just rip it all out of their body. And like nobody like takes the knock on like secondary effects they could use it for. They just don't, they think linearly. So that's one of the things I liked that I got from that book, and it came from Pick a Path for Choose Your Own Adventure. So when you get those out, we'll have to get you on the show. And one of the guests of the show, Robert Tilsley, Max Tilsley, actually writes YA or young adult. I don't know, whatever you would Pick a Path would be considered. He actually writes those as well. So you might want to link up for some marketing help.
Oh yeah.
That is I love those though. I want those to make a comeback. So.
Oh yeah, we're all trying. We want to go back to the old ways.
It's just when it was fun, right? Like the world is so serious. It's fun has a place.
We have to bring it back. More fun, please.
Absolutely. Speaking of fun, one of the crying shames of adulthood is as we get older, no one asks each other the important question. So thanks to our sponsors, we are going to bring that back. And I'm going to ask you, Jarret, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, I think my favorite dinosaur might not be a dinosaur. Have you heard of the pteranodon?
I have.
I think it's like a bigger pterodactyl. I have one of those books about the pteranodon, and it's like a kid's book, but it's these painted images, and I just love the look, and it just has a great attitude. I love heavy things flying through the air. It's like
It's definitely a flying reptile, because it's cold-blooded.
Yeah,
it's late Cretaceous. I'd say it's a dinosaur.
Does it count? Okay, yeah, let's go with that because I like the sound of it too. Pteranodon. I just love that. It's I want to write a book about a pteranodon reanimated or.
Have you seen all the dinosaur movies? Like you've got Jurassic Park, of course, and all the iterations of that. And then there is Primeval. I don't know if in Primeval New World, have you seen those?
Yes, I wanted to. Man, I wish you lived around here. I'd take you to see, what is it, Primitive War or something? Or
yeah, that is coming out. I want to see that for sure. I don't go out to movies much because I'd rather sit in my comfy recliner and watch it at home. And streaming makes that easier. But yeah, I just think dinosaurs are underappreciated nowadays, and they need to bring more dinosaurs back.
Well, I like that one movie. Is it from the '60s? Valley of the Gwangi, with the cowboys and the dinosaurs. It's like
I have never heard of this, but now I am going to have to go to Amazon and buy it.
It's like a weird Western, where cowboys and dinosaurs are pitted against each other. I like movies that risk silliness, like Cowboys and Aliens and things like that. I love smash ups like that, mashups.
Absolutely, me too. I think it's Velociraptors at Dawn was a short story I read where they actually rode Velociraptors as their mount for duels.
Yeah, man.
Joust.
Oh, I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
I'm drawing a blank on who wrote that. Joe Vasicek. There we go.
Oh, cool. One of my favorite comics growing up was Devil Dinosaur. I don't know if you...
oh, that is awesome. I did not know of it, but I want to know now.
Late 70s prehistoric fiction foray. Yeah,
okay.
A primitive boy and his pet red dinosaur.
There was a series of books that came out in like the 70s that was like a boy and there was all about adventures like that. Sometimes it was traveling back in time to dinosaurs. There was one like A Boy Rides with Hannibal, and it's about a young kid that is an elephant tender when he crosses the Alps. Like they had a lot more fiction designed to inspire young men to be adventurous back in the day. Somehow along the line we got away from that, and I think we need to go back to it.
I agree that I think the last great book my kids read in school was Hatchet, and that was it. After that, it became,
unfortunately, and I don't want to take a dig at your profession, but a lot of times the English books the books we make kids read in English class make them not like reading. I mean, there's room for the classics, absolutely, but a lot of the classics are classics because they were good, so they resonated, and they continue to resonate. They were at one point in time the pop culture; they weren't the literati stuff. Yeah. So if you can't make them like Shakespeare, you're just not doing it right. But some of the stuff we read, it was just so
Yeah, I taught class today here at UNLV, and I taught The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe.
So, fun fact, he was actually stationed locally to me because I'm in Hampton. The Fort Eustis, or not Fort Eustis, what is it? There's a fort right there that's closed now. I'm drawing a blank, but he was stationed there at one point in time, Edgar Allan Poe, before he got out of the army.
Oh, wow. I thought he got kicked out of West Point or something. Or that
he was enlisted before he went to West Point.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to draw a blank. It's going to bug me that I don't remember. What is the name of that base?
I don't know. I do know The Telltale Heart, and the students loved it today.
Fort Monroe. There we go.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. He was stationed at Fort Monroe. I want to say he was senior enlisted, but ranks worked differently then. He was a sergeant major during his time at Fort Monroe, which, given how young he was, is crazy. And he sold that to get into West Point and then got kicked out of West Point. Yeah, it's weird. It wasn't quite like the commissions the way the British did it, where you could buy it, but there was some shenanigans that went on behind the scenes.
Sure.
because there are only so many slots available for various things. But yeah, they actually have his station at that base where you can look where he lived. His room is one of the ones that's available on the tour.
Right. And next week I'm teaching Ambrose Bierce, who I believe had a military background. He's another weird author, often labeled a writer of the fantastic. He did Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge.
Okay, I've read that one.
Yeah.
So if you like the weird and the horror, are you a Lovecraft fan?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a controversial take. Don't hate me, but I think a lot of the derivative work from Lovecraft is better than the original Lovecraft.
Oh, well, that could be, but I mean, the thing with Lovecraft is he's so his vision is so particular and specific that
in his writing style, but that was more, the period he was writing in.
Yeah, I mean, he should have been a little more. I mean, for instance, when I read Robert E. Howard, who is a contemporary of Lovecraft, I don't get that feeling. Like,
no,
Robert E. Howard is just so today, like, so it could have been written now. Lovecraft, he has that Victorian stuffiness that still lingers in his prose. But I love Color Out of Space. I love all his stories. I'm teaching the Color Out of Space in a few weeks, so I'll let you know what my students think of it, which was made. I think that was adapted into a Nicolas Cage film a few years ago. So the Color Out of Space.
That's a good one. Do you get to pick your own reading for them, or do you have like a curriculum assigned to you?
Oh no, I've designed my own. It's actually a writing workshop, but I have them read some of the classics in various genres. Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. I have them read probably my favorite story of. I call it recent, but it's from like the late 70s. Roger Zelazny's Damnation Alley. So that's which was made into a film, I think, starring George Papard and from the A-Team.
Yeah.
And Jan Michael Vincent, and I try to introduce them to sort of like pioneering works in the various genres, and we're reading a Louis L'Amour story.
Oh, he's good. I ate his stuff up as a kid.
Yes, and we're gonna read like for crime. I'm probably gonna give him a Jim Thompson story, or maybe James Cain. Haven't quite decided, but yeah, we're gonna read stuff across the various the genres: Western, crime, horror, sci-fi, fantasy.
I really like Louis L'Amour's the one about the downed fighter pilot. I'm drawing a blank on the name of that book, but is one of his later works.
Yeah, I don't think I've read that one. I've only read the Western stuff, and then the Haunted Mesa.
The Haunted Mesa is a good one.
But I love bringing again these kinds of
Last of the Breed. There we go. It's Last of the Breed. It's wrote it in '87. It's one of his last books.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I haven't read it, but I love bringing these more popular fictions to my students because they don't know what today's young people don't know any of this stuff. Edgar Rice Burroughs, they have no idea who that is.
Ooh, Barsoom. I love it.
Yes.
Last of the Breed was one of the last. I don't know if it was the exact last. It published in '87 and he died in '88.
Wow.
So if it wasn't the last one, it's the second to last, given how slow publishing can be back then.
Yeah, actually, I have read that book. I'm sorry. I know it's so out of keeping with his earlier work that.
Yeah, it almost doesn't feel like it's one of his, but it's good.
It's very good. Yes, it is quite good. It's like I like it better than Clancy and all that stuff.
I love Clancy too. Louis L'Amour made me when I was a kid. When they asked me what I want to be when I grow up, I told him I want to be a cowboy. Apparently, that is not a job description you can study for and earn money as, though. So much to my chagrin. But yeah, I loved his books as a kid, and the language is so clean. The messages are relatively simple. Good people doing good things against bad people doing bad things, and good always wins. And I mean, that level of wholesomeness. There's room for moral ambiguity in the gray, but I think we've gotten so far down that road, we've forgotten that the gray only works because it's defined by the right and the wrong.
Yes, and that goes back to why Game of Thrones isn't quite my tea. I love epic heroism. I love the mythic. I love
yes
stuff that makes me want to go outside and do things.
So if you like the absolute clarity, it's not old, but what did you think of 13th Warrior then? Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
It's if you read the description, it's supposed to be a retelling of Beowulf. I didn't see that in there, but I still dug it. I took it as its own thing. I think sometimes people try to shoehorn things later for marketing.
Yeah, sure.
But in itself, it was good. So
The Crichton book has a different title, or did have a different title. I don't know if it's been retitled, but I think it was called Eaters of the Dead.
Yes.
And when I picked it up, I thought it was going to be a horror novel. I had no idea it was going to be this like sword and sorcery thing, and I loved it. It was a great read. And then of course I saw the movie, and I think I was one of the few people who enjoyed it. But I tend to have a little bit of an oddball taste. I like movies like John Carter and The Rocketeer, I love Bright Darkness.
Yeah, the one issue is the Viking prayer they use is everyone thinks that's real and it was made up for the movie. It's inspired by real sentiments. The "Lo, there do I see my father, my mother, my sisters, et cetera, et cetera."
Yeah.
But that is that's made up for the property.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the sentiment is real. It fits with the Viking ethos. But the sagas that a lot of the Viking and Norse lore is coming from is not so clean and easy to read.
Yeah,
that is like the sagas meet, I don't know, Shakespeare in the writing style.
For sure.
So, all right. So as we because we got distracted talking about all the things, but I had fun, so I don't care. We are civilized human beings here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. We are no longer knuckle dragging troglodytes. So, coffee or tea, and how do you take it?
Coffee, black, maybe with a little stevia to cut the the bitterness. But that's it. That's the writing fuel. That's my reading fuel. That's my everything fuel.
So before we start talking about the book that brought us here, is your gateway to Annihilation. How did you get into speculative fiction? You mentioned all the way back to your childhood. Do you have like a defining moment where you found, crap, I like this stuff?
I live next to a pillbox library in downtown Tampa, and
okay.
For me, it was picking up the novelization of the movie The Goonies.
Out freaking standing, love that. The crazy thing, and I'm always amazed by this, so I'm sure I say it every time we talk about the Goonies. The actor that did the Truffle Shuffle was so sick of being known as that. He hit the gym so hard, the dude is freaking swole, and now he's a personal trainer motivating other people to find their fit self.
That's beautiful.
It's just so awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I picked up that book. I believe it was written by James Caan, not the actor. I mean Kahn. I think Caan wrote like a lot of novelizations back then, like Temple and things like that. But no, I picked that. It's not sci-fi, but it's like a sort of a fantasy pirate adventure. We got a treasure map kind of thing, and
I would argue that given the stuff that happens when they find the treasure in the ancient pirate ship, and there's a level of magical stuff involved, I would almost argue this urban fantasy.
Yeah, I would agree. And there, of course, the book was an eye opener for me. I had seen the movie in the theater, but then when I got the book from the library, I realized even as a kid that the book included scenes from the original screenplay that didn't make it in the final cut. So you got like the octopus scene where they go down the slides, the water slides. They end up there in the secret grotto, hidden cavern where the pirate ship is, and they do battle with an octopus in the novelization. I was like, what is this? This is something new. This is something.
Oh, that is awesome.
This wasn't in the movie. So I became kind of addicted to novelizations of movies because very often they were written with the screenplay in hand, and the screenplay, of course, does not often reflect what was ultimately presented to theater goers. So I found that to be very interesting as a kid, and this characterization was enhanced, and you could get into the minds of the characters in a way that the film really didn't make possible. So I would say that my most profound literary genre experience was probably reading the Goonies novelization in the library down the street from my house.
I know. Were your parents supportive of your interest?
Absolutely. I mean, my dad went to the mall when he heard about Dungeons and Dragons and bought me the original first edition, you know, box, and took it home to me and said, "Here, have fun."
Nice. Do you still have that?
I don't. I mean, it got all chewed up, and I mean, I have uh, various editions of the games, but not the original one that my father bought me. I literally read it to pieces and gamed it to shreds. So,
Yeah, I almost, if you look at fantasy as a genre, you've got pre-Tolkien because it was just its own thing. The fantasy as a genre post-Tolkien, and then the next major milestone was almost Dungeons and Dragons when it comes to evolving the lore and what it means for fantasy in the popular zeitgeist. So it was definitely transformative.
Well, one of my big regrets is, not getting into wargaming as a young person. Like I didn't think that was real. But
Yeah,
it turns out in the early '90s, people were wargaming like for real, and they would do it at military institutes. And when I read about this after the fact, I was like, oh man, I missed out. That would have been amazing to become a true war gamer.
Yeah, if you look at some of the older pictures too, they got like old folks in England doing it in their backyard where they like mock up the terrain and it's insane. And I wanted a part of it, and I was never invited.
Yeah, me either. I wish I had taken wargaming more seriously, but it's one of those things where it was enough that it sparked my imagination. I wouldn't be a professor today without the Goonies novelization and the Dungeons and Dragons.
The closest I got to wargaming, I guess, is I played Axis and Allies and Risk.
Yes. Yeah, those are fun though.
They're addicting. And of course you learn the art of the rage quit when someone flips the board.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just I miss that stuff, and again, I made sure my sons learned to play Dungeons and Dragons original.
That wasn't that hard. Come on, people.
We don't need to get into that debate.
I've co-written with James Ward, so I have him in my head when it comes to that. He had some definite opinions. And if anyone gets a right to those opinions, it's that man.
That's right. That's true.
So did you get into any of the fantasy board games? Because D&D had a board game, too, for a while.
Dungeon? Yeah, of course. Yeah, my kids grew up playing that. Yeah, I love that stuff. I'm glad they still make it. I mean, I collect board games. I've got the $6 Million Man board game over here somewhere. I've got the Bigfoot board. I love those old 70s, 80s era games, and that's really what this is all leading up to. My once I read a few more books, I'm going to turn my attention toward designing board games and role RPGs.
That sounds fun. I dig all of that. There's that old meme that gets me every time. It's got the kid at the bench, and he's basically the gist is the kid says he can't wait to grow up so he has money to buy all the games he wants, and the dad's like, yes, you will, and you'll never have time to play them.
Right. It's so true.
And I'm like, that's adulthood in a nutshell.
It's true.
If I have to live long enough to go to a retirement home, I want to be one like themed around those kinds of cool games.
I can't wait.
Let's just spend our dotage like rolling dice and playing video games. I'm there.
That's how I want to go out.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to pause for a moment, dear listener, while we shamelessly shill for the man, and then we're going to come back and talk about the book that brought us here. So roll that beautiful Bane footage, people. Boom.
The government underestimated the outbreak. The best medicines couldn't stop it. Now, the dead are walking the streets, and they're hungry. Zombie Patient Zero is 9 tales of flesh-ripping, brain-splattering mayhem from Bayonet Books, the boldest name in action and horror anthologies. From deep space to luxury resorts, nowhere is safe. zip up your hazmat suit, and dare to find out how it all went wrong. Zombie Patient Zero, from the deranged minds that brought you Contact This and Storming Area 51. Pick up your copy today in paperback or Kindle.
With us through that commercial interlude. I got some bad news for you, dear listener. I just Googled it while we were airing the commercial, and it looks like Joe Vasicek unpublished Velociraptors at Dawn. It's in one of his collections, but I do not have time before we air this to hunt down all of them, because the man's a prolific short story writing machine. But if you go check out Joe Vasicek, his books are amazing, and they are awesome. So give it a shot. But yeah, that's the whole premise. Is in a alternate reality, you ride velociraptors as you joust with your enemies. All right. So first off, let's start with what is, and I'm going to throw the cover up as we talk. What was the inspiration for your collection of stories called Gateways to Annihilation?
Well, I wanted to, as I was telling you before, experiment with this idea of writing bright horror, or I should say, horror stories that end on a bittersweet or maybe even positive feeling. I really liked, again, movies like Monster Squad and stuff like that growing up. I wanted to capture that feeling, that aesthetic again with Gateways. And I'll read you a little bit from the back of the book. A cursed pizzeria, haunted B-movie legacy, a tycoon's final robotic companion. Welcome to Gateways to Annihilation, a searing collection of horror short stories that fuses right here, right now themes: war trauma, pandemic stress, religious terrorism, political extremism, cryptozoological mania, and the human hunger for a sudden cleansing apocalypse, while encouraging readers to reach for a bag of movie popcorn in the darkness of the night. So I'm doing like a cinematic approach really to the short story. I really view each of these 14 tales as a kind of, I don't know, film pitch or query to a movie producer to get them interested in, adapting one or more of these in a way that, that style of movie making where we all eager to get into that, pack ourselves into the theater and be dazzled and delighted and, ultimately disturbed. Do you know the movies I'm talking about? Like Jaws, Halloween.
I do.
They're
And I
movies, but they end on a optimistic note instead of everybody just dying or being vaporized.
Yeah, Jaws was funny because it was in the captain. If you catch it, he was survivor of the USS Indianapolis, which sunk.
Yes, and the book is in some ways more interesting than the film in terms of characterization. It's almost like a John Updike novel about adultery in Cape Cod or whatever than a straight up horror story, and I like it for that reason. But again, it ends in a positive feeling. You kind of pump your fist at the end when the protagonists succeed in besting the creature.
Yeah. Now, is it written format wise like it is a script, or is that just the inspiration?
That's just the inspiration. These are short stories, and they're again, they they vary in terms of style and subject matter. One story, for example, is about a scientific experiment occurring in a biodome where the inhabitants are coming apart and at each other's throats. And I've got another story about a Japanese American Hollywood suit actor who comes to Hollywood to try to make it and ends up starring in all these B grade, C grade schlocky films, and basically ritualizing his trauma over and over again as he, dons the suit and destroys the cardboard cityscapes, much in the way that his country was annihilated during World War II. And then, I mean, I got like a Howard Hughes robot that suddenly becomes an atomic threat to southern Nevada. I've got stories here about the skunk ape in Florida. Florida is where I grew up as a kid, and if you're not familiar with the skunk ape, it's sort of the Florida version of Bigfoot.
Oh,
And in that story, a nature photographer in that area becomes obsessed with the creature and ends up discovering it and then being stalked by it. So I mean, it's just a variety of stories here. I didn't want any story to have anything to do with the next one. I wanted to. I've got a dark reimagining of the story of Isaac from the Bible. So there's just a range of different tales here that I think readers will dig, especially people who might be drawn to anthology series like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, or even Black Mirror, things like that. I've always enjoyed anthology series since I was a kid.
the episodic stuff.
Yeah, I grew up watching Outer Limits, Alfred Hitchcock 3 Hour, you know.
Yeah, no, me too. Although I still say, man, that his movie, or was it? I guess it was a movie, Birds.
Yes.
That creeps me out even today.
Yeah, great film. I took my kids to the theater to watch a screening of that.
I appreciate that you torture your kids just like I did. So, in terms of length, how many pages is this for readers?
They're not especially long. I think the longest story is the final one, but each story is about 10, 15 pages. So I try to provide enough story and characterization and plot that keeps people interested. And but for me, it was all about making it punchy and unforgettable. So I didn't really. There's world building and stuff and all that, but mainly it's about character and it's about narrative momentum. I want these to read like miniature 1980s films that I and many others grew up watching. So like Blockbuster, you see those little VHS containers. You just want to grab a bunch of them, and take them to the.
Actually, some of our original Bayonet books anthology covers were inspired by those movie covers.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah. They're amazing. The posters from that, the movie posters from that era are amazing. That's what inspired here the cover of Gateways to Annihilation by my friend, the illustrator Claudio Bergamin.
That's the old joke when you talk about Blockbuster and stuff, is you see floating around on that meme is go ahead, tell everyone you were a regional manager for Blockbuster or Radio Shack or Toys R Us. Who's going to know? But okay, so the ratings are kind of all over, or the themes are kind of all over the place. Is it family friendly stories, or this is grown up horror?
Oh no, this is it's. You're talking to someone who read the Bachman books when he was 12, but I would recommend it for, older teenagers and above.
Okay.
I would not hand this to a 10 or 12-year-old.
Is it going to be coming out in audio, or is it just ebook, paperback, and hardback?
No audio yet. I'm working on it. I did an audiobook for Hammer of the Dogs, and it was a wonderful experience. But as I get into the public, as I keep getting these book contracts, I'm kind of focused on writing and
absolutely.
Yeah, I narrated my own. I did my own audiobook for Hammer of the Dogs here in town, and it was a lot of fun. But I don't really trust anyone to read or perform my novels or stories other than myself.
Okay. So
unless it's like like Matthew McConaughey or something, but I can't afford him.
Yeah, who can? Do you have a favorite? I mean, obviously all your kids are your favorites. I get it. But do you have a favorite among the collection?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Comic Book Hell is my favorite. It's about an obsessive comic book collector who stumbles on a rare item produced by honest to goodness Satanists in the early 70s, and he yearns to possess this comic. And the story is actually set in the late 90s before the internet boom, so he's kind of doing everything. He's like he's like an investigator, and he tracks down this comic book at a comic convention. The problem is that a group of aspiring Satanists, a new cult on the scene, wants the book as well. So they're at odds, and it brings together two very strange worlds. Wannabe Satanists and comic book collectors who yearn to gather up all the obscure indie comics out there. And so a lot of hijinks ensue, and it's got the most comedy out of all the stories. And I love that kind of horror that has its tongue in its cheek, and has a sense of humor about its self-awareness, I guess.
So how would you describe the humor? Is it barracks humor? Is it, slapstick? Is it highbrow?
It's 80s middle. It's like Teen Wolf 80s middlebrow humor. Or have you seen? Do you like these contemporary horror films like Barbarian and Weapons? Have you seen these kinds of movies?
I haven't. I'm not really a horror fan. I sort of reluctantly watch it in the show for the episodes because Stabby's a horror fan, and we put up with her and she puts up with us. So we do those for her because she really digs it.
Right.
Some of them are actually okay. Like I liked Stuff, or no, was it The Stuff? Yeah. The fluffy one that was creepy, but kind of wholesome too.
Yes. Yeah, I like my, although obviously I think Halloween and Alien and Exorcist are great films, but I prefer mine with, I prefer movies like I was explaining before, like the Monster Squad, that just, they have
Mod Squad was awesome.
They have just fun sense of humor, like a comedic touch. And that's what I really miss more than anything. So I try to put as much humor as I can. Not every story in here has that, but in fact, the first story is probably the opening story, Conjure Me, which is about voodoo during the yellow fever epidemic in New Orleans, is probably the most serious or somber of the works in this book. But I don't know. I just love pushing my imagination, and more than anything, I love doing research. Like I loved researching, for example, Celtic mythology when I wrote Glandomirum about the Celtic gods hiding in plain sight in Irish pubs throughout Las Vegas.
Oh,
so stuff like that is what I'm after. Dark fantasy is probably a better descriptor for this book than just straight up horror.
Okay, I like dark fantasy. That's cool.
Me too.
Are you a fan of Joe Abercrombie then?
Yes. And I hate to keep bringing it back to movies, but Dark Crystal, Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
Secret of Nim.
She was a horrible babysitter. I'm just saying.
Really?
I mean, she couldn't keep track of them.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I agree, but everyone a hero has to have flaws, or else there's no story.
Yeah.
And
so
that was her.
Okay, so obviously we know that the author that has the most things converted into film would be Philip K. Dick, because all of his short stories. So given that short stories are kind of, for whatever reason, the perfect length for conversion like that, because there's lots of room in a narrow scope, which one of these stories would you like to see made into a movie first?
First? Oh my goodness. Man, I'm going to have to say Dream Evil, which is about a kid magician, a high school sorcerer, who's delivering pizzas and is eager to gain the attention of a beautiful classmate, and ends up getting both of them getting in over their heads with the summoning of a demon, and things go a bit awry. And so it's set in Las Vegas, present day, and I think it would be a lot of fun and be easy to shoot. It'd be a great first adaptation, I believe. And I think the main character, Dash Cobra, and the Sorcerer Kid, would be a lot of fun. Sort of a twisted, maybe slightly hornier version of like whatever what's that saga, the Harry Potter saga. I like taking something that's ostensibly what's the word? Oh yeah, like comfy, like a kid sorcerer. That's kind of like a cliche now, and then maybe holding it up to the light and twisting it around and seeing where the cracks are and exploring those defects. And I think he's a flawed character that wants to do well and sometimes makes the wrong decision. And that's why I think it's so interesting. It would make for a great episodic series, not just a film adaptation.
So what did you think of Blood and Honey then, if you like the conversions?
Blood and Honey? What is Blood and Honey?
It's the when Winnie the Pooh went public domain, someone turned it into a comic book.
Is it good? Did you watch it?
I have not, but I want to. I just haven't been able to find it on the streaming services I subscribe to.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'll probably watch it one day, but I don't really have any.
Just not today.
I mean, like, I loved Winnie the Pooh as a kid, so that's kind of like taking, I don't know, the Muppets and giving them chainsaws or whatever.
Wait, didn't they already have weapons?
Yeah, maybe. I think they did. I think that's why I love them so much.
And that shaggy dog.
Yes. I love the Muppet movie. Now I'm sounding rich. I'm getting punched. I love Muppets Take Manhattan. I love the Muppet movie, and I just wish the Muppets are being like disappeared. But wait, I got to be quiet. I'm going off into conspiracy theories. I love the Muppets, and I just want them to be strong and healthy again as a franchise, as an IP.
Are you saying that MK Ultra is trying to make the Muppets go away and steal them from us?
I'm just. You said it, not me. I love the Muppets. I want them back badly, and yes, I made sure my sons watched the first two films.
As one should. Okay, but the hard part of discussing an anthology is there's not as much there without spoilers, because there's so many short stories. It's not like you can spend 20 minutes diving into the characters. So is there anything we didn't cover about your collection of stories in this Gateways to Annihilation, which is slightly more grown-up take on Scary Tales, the books we read as kids, the iconic black covered book with the red and gray? Oh, I loved those.
I mean, my kids loved
there we go.
Bumps, R.L. Stein. Yeah, I mean, my kids love that stuff, and in some ways this is my effort to kind of catch up to them. I wrote this story collection for young people, and the college age readers, but because of I'm such a Gen Xer, I'm steeped in boomer syndicated entertainment. I feel like anyone can pick this book up and really enjoy it, get something out of it. A lot of people that are a lot of readers 10, 20 years older than me love this book. Gen Xers dig it, and more importantly, my sons dig it. So I think that's a good vote of confidence, although I made them read it. So
did you at least give them allowance money for it?
No. Can I tell you a quick story?
Sure.
So when I told you about the Bachman books, and that story, The Long Walk, really left a mark on me. So I made my kids read it for their school. They get points for reading books still, and if you get enough points, you can have a pizza party in your classroom or something like that.
Oh, I remember those in the pizza reading challenges.
Yeah. But I mean, used to be you could go to like Godfather's Pizza or something, or Pizza Hut, and they would, you'd bring I read 20 books this summer, and you'd get like a pizza. But it's different now. Now they just bring the pizza to the classroom. But so I made them read The Long Walk by Stephen King, and they're like 10 and 12 years old at the time. It's a brutal read. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But they
and their mother didn't kill you. You survived. I'm impressed.
no, but it's worse than that. Like, so they went to school to take the test, and I didn't realize it at the time, but not every book out there is automatically on the list. Like, only there's an approved. Yeah, I just thought because Hunger Games, Harry Potter, and what else? What was the other big book? But Brandon Sanderson, that those books were all in the system. I thought every book was in this list of books that you could read for points, but they ended up reading the books and not getting any points because there was no test that they could take.
Oh, that blows.
They were mad at me for a long time. But the movie was just recently adapted into a film, so we're going out to see it in a couple of weeks together as a family. So it's gonna.
So they've forgiven you at least. That's something.
Yeah, they do. They're very forgiving. I said I didn't read it for points, so why should you?
I was a kid that got in trouble for reading Stephen King in like elementary school. Not that I really liked his work. Not that I wanted to read it. I read it for the shock value, just to, I'm reading this and you can't tell me no because my mom.
Yeah.
Of course, she didn't know I was reading it either. I just pretended. But yeah, I get, there's the shock value in some of that, and teachers don't quite know what to make of precocious readers.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you think about it, during your time in school as well, the Dungeons and Dragons, Stephen King, heavy metal, these were dangerous pastimes. It's different than today. Everything's been kind of cozified, like there's everything's like cozy now. Dungeons and Dragons, and Stephen King is not quite as evil as he used to be, and everything's kind of a bit toothless today. And I wanted to put some teeth back into those kinds of entertainments, and that's what Gateways to Annihilation is at its core. It's just a dark fantasy celebration, and with a range of different characters and scenarios and stories, and I think people will dig it.
Okay. Any closing thoughts?
Man, I'm just I wish you lived in Las Vegas so we could hang out and
absolutely. This was too much fun. I had trouble staying on track, but mostly because I was having so much fun. That's a good thing. We're definitely going to have you back for more of these pop culture topics that we've got coming up in September and October. This is the part, dear listener, where I remind you to please be kind and speak your mind on the reviewing platforms. Your reviews help the right readers find the right books, so do your part, people. And with that, how can listeners and viewers at home find you?
First and foremost, the main place, JarretKeene.net. You can find my links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter there, JarretKeene.net. And leave a message, email me, let me know what you think of the book. I hope you all like it. And I'd love to come back and chat with you more about, everything. Dinosaurs, cowboys.
That movie, Primitive War, I think it's called. When that comes out, I think we're going to have to do a movie review on it, and you're definitely on the list.
Let's do it, man. I'm excited for it. It's actually playing here right now, I think. So I'm gonna see it either tomorrow or Saturday.
Okay. I didn't realize it was in the theater. I'm gonna have to check it out. But yeah, it's I'm a huge dinosaur nerd. I like Jurassic Park. I even watched Camp Cretaceous. Are you familiar with that one?
Oh yeah. They've been doing this thing too where they'll like screen a movie one night only. I just saw Red Sonja a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, and they screened it in the theater, one night. But I got my tickets, and yes, I dragged my sons to the screen. They've already seen the 80s version, but I wanted them to see the
Why is it? Because it's going to streaming so quickly?
Yeah. I don't even know why they bother. Like, why would you even bother screening it one night? But they did, and
I guess they're trying to make the hype, the exclusivity of it.
Yeah. Yeah, the screening I saw wasn't sold out, but there was a lot of people there. I think there'll be some interest in Sword and Sorcery. I just love that stuff. I'll even watch, Conan the Destroyer, and Beastmaster. I love Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah, Beastmaster made me want ferrets, and then my uncle had one, and I realized how much they smelled. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you can keep your ferrets. So how can listeners find you on the Wild Wilder interwebs? I might have asked you this already, but
JarretKeene.net, and please send me an email, send me a message. I'd love to hear from y'all. You can find my links to Facebook there and Instagram.
Outstanding. What can I say, dear listener? Sundowning is a thing. And with that, you can find us on our link tree, linktr.ee, linktree/Blasters Blades Podcast. Again, linktree/Blasters Blades Podcast, where we link to all the things a bit, shoot the Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, the Twitters. We've got our Spotify, our Discord, our Blasters Blades Facebook group and Facebook page. We have our email, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. For professional purposes only, people save the shenanigans from Stabby Stab over there on the Instagram, the Twitter, and the email. You can support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the comment section that is for the podcast, and I promise I will keep my co-hosts duly caffeinated. They will drink that coffee, bring coffee till it pours out of their eyeballs, and we swim away on a river of caffeinated goodness. And like I said, these episodes aren't free to produce. And in all seriousness, we appreciate your help keeping the lights on. We'll be Motel 6 for you, and we'll leave the light on. And with that, I would like to thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For my crazy co-host, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades Podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time, where we'll indulge our love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom. This was a lot of fun, Jarret. I'm glad you reached out.
Oh man, thank you so much. Let's do it again soon. I love hanging out.
Absolutely. And with that, we're gonna hit the end button so we can say all the things